There's no good reason for abortion. I would like somebody to give me a good reason for abortion. If we believe that it's killing of a child, which biology has shown to be true at the moment of conception, life begins, I don't think that there is any good reason for it.
The question that stays with me is, why are people so drawn to the details of politics, to the endless news cycle, to picking one political side of the spectrum over the other? There's so much more richness and fulfillment and truth in what our faith passes down to us.
What's up, everybody?
Up, Father Simon.
Hi, guys.
How much?
Iraq lost. Oh, no. They tied.
They tied.
But they didn't win, which means that they still have to
One
play
more,
another
I
game.
think one more game,
and
I
win
think. Yeah.
to make the World Cup.
Yep.
That'd be crazy, bro.
Who did they tie against today?
Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
Saudi.
If they would have lost, would they have been out completely of?
No, I think they still
World
had
Cup?
a chance. I think they still had a chance for one more game.
Okay.
But knowing their luck, they're probably not gonna, if we believe in that.
So the Abbot gave you guys special permission to watch the game?
He gave us
Is
special
that a thing?
permission to watch about 20 minutes of it.
I just walked in there and they were so excited. They said, Father
texted
Ankido
Father
gave us special permission to watch.
I was like, Abuna, there's 20 minutes left. Can we watch it? He's like, go. I was like, "Yes."
Nice, man.
I'm not that strict. The rules are strict.
The rules are strict. Yeah. No, you're bro, look what you just did. You just gave him
You brought us a lot of joy.
opportunity
blame
to
the
watch.
rules.
Yeah. There you go.
Blame the rules.
It's like
Yeah.
the church, It's
I
not
was
me.
just thinking about that.
It's not me, guys. When I'm like preaching homily, it's the church. The church says,
We were at someone's house yesterday, and he was saying, he was like mentioning how different priests have like different style of homilies and stuff, and what he feels when a priest is preaching. And he said, when Father Chris is preaching, I feel like I did everything, like he knows everything I've done in my life.
That's good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was crazy to hear that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
That's a compliment. Big compliment.
What's you guys' favorite, well, I guess, I don't know, favorite language to preach on?
English?
I'm asking because I happen
Why?
to come
Do you
from
have a
back
different
home.
one?
Well, no, Chaldean's been my favorite so
Are you
far.
serious right
Yeah,
now?
it's like by far.
Me too.
Dude,
I prefer
are
to
you
preach in
kidding me?
Sudath because there's things you can communicate in
Yeah.
Sudath that you can't translate directly into an expression in English. So it makes it kind of fun, to be honest.
For me, my brain is not there yet because I'm trying to transfer my English thinking mind to Sudath.
Yeah.
And so I'm
Yeah.
not even thinking about Chaldean phrases. I'm just thinking about how to speak to these people.
Yeah.
It's more casual in Chaldean,
More casual.
but
yeah.
I can't articulate my thoughts
Yeah,
as
man.
well in Chaldean as I can in English.
Yeah.
I don't have the vocabulary is not there. I don't know any Arabic, so I can't
can't
a
follow.
lot of Chaldeans will slip in a lot of Arabic words
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
to get around the low count vocabulary in
Yeah,
Chaldean.
yeah.
And I don't know any Arabic words basically.
Okay.
But by the way, there's positives and negatives about each one. Because you might want to say something in English that also won't go over to the Sudath side of things. So I try to also do my exact English homily, what I would preach in English, in Sudath. I try to make sure everything is translatable as much as possible, the ideas. But if you were to do that in Sudath, as Father Ankido said, it's more casual in Sudath. So I'm sure some of the people would be like, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah.
What kind of theories are you bringing to our attention?
Like if
or
you say
something?
what you have planned in English
Yes,
for the Sudath,
it would be too much.
That's why I have a completely different homily usually.
Yeah.
Same gospel, but completely different homily for a Sudath Mass
Yeah.
than for
Different
an English
audience.
Mass.
Yeah, different audience.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
and then that's the other thing. Much different audiences.
yeah.
It's
I-
fun though.
It
It's
is fun,
fun.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Do you guys feel like you have different homilies at different churches here in San Diego, like when you celebrate, or is it more or less the same?
I usually have a similar homily. The deliverance is different.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like when we're at St. Peter's, we have to be a little bit more structured.
Very professional.
Just in case,
I'm at St. Peter's and I don't even care about that. I just preach the same thing no matter where I'm going. Maybe delivery is going to differ here and there, but essentially it's the thing that you're getting.
Yeah, I guess we're just more comfortable at our home base.
That makes
You know?
sense.
I'll just
That's-
say this.
that's
My
your home
favorite
base.
mass to do is St. Michael's
I
10
know.
a.m. mass.
Someone sent me that yesterday when you said it on the fam story.
Yeah.
sent
St.
me
Michael's
that.
10 a.m. mass. I'll say that all day.
Chaldean, right?
It's full. It's always full. It's Chaldean mass. It's like the high mass of that Sunday at St. Michael's. There's many servers, so there's no shortage of that. Even though they're not all like top tier, it's still good to have that many servers. And then just how full it is, and the people that go just make me feel like I'm home. It makes me feel like it's the mass I grew up going to. So yeah,
It's very classic mass. Like that's a legendary mass. St. Michael's 10 a.m. You know,
When people interact with you from the audience, it is so cool. When you're and someone's nodding,
Like when they're
there's
nodding?
there's something going on. It's like
Those-
engaging. Versus when it's
There's
like completely
so many
like
stories
like just solid, and like you'll say something and they're just like there's zero response. I'm like,
the people that nod when I speak Surat, because I'm like insecure about speaking Surat.
You
When
wanna
they
go down the
nod,
hug them.
I'm like, this guy, man, this guy or this lady, I love you.
Yeah.
I want to stop a whole mass and just go give him a hug.
that's
100%. But then when you find people asleep, you're like, oh my, I'm crashing out right now.
Yeah.
You know the problem is, one time, like there's this one guy that I'm thinking about right now that nods when I speak Surat, right? And I don't think he knows English very well, at least. And so I saw him at an English mass of mine, and he was doing the same thing, nodding like, and then I started questioning, like, okay, is this guy like?
Well, how about the other end of the spectrum? So when I was a new priest, like maybe like a few months in, just like you, I was preaching at St. Michael's 10 a.m. mass, and some guy, instead of nodding and supporting me, he goes, "What is this guy talking about?" Out loud. He says that. Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah. He goes, "I made a Mako, yeah." So,
In Chaldean?
yeah. It was
Oh
Chaldean
my
mass.
gosh.
That's intimidating.
So I just kind of like looked and okay, and I just kept going.
Yeah.
And then the people around him were quieting him down because
Wow.
apparently he thought he was like in a place where he could just say his opinions out loud,
And you still love that mass very much.
Yeah,
Wow.
100%.
We're very like St. John's. We're very multicultural, right? We have a lot of people that are non-Chaldeans.
Yeah,
that go
you
to our
guys have a
mass.
Spanish mass now, right?
Not yet. We're working on that.
But sometimes we get people. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but sometimes we get people and like you're saying, English, obviously, and then you're saying stuff, and then somebody's just like, "Amen, yep," and I'm like, I love these people, man.
People do that?
Yeah.
Oh, at St. John's, it's a common occurrence. You always have one at mass, and like they're like,
I
they
haven't
interact.
done a St. John's Mass in a while, but I've never heard that in all the masses I've
Yeah,
been.
English, yeah. Maybe 12 p.m. more.
Yeah. So we just posted a video last week, or the last time, I think it was the four of us that were on the show. We spoke about, we started off by speaking about Pope Leo's comments about the Cardinal Supich, who was giving an award to the pro-abortion senator. And since then, the senator refused the award. Did you guys see that? That was like the day that we posted, or the day that we filmed the episode.
Yeah, he declined it.
He declined it.
Well, because of the political pressure.
Yeah. It's good of him.
It was good of him. It was prudent of him to do that. There was it became too hot button of an issue.
Yeah. And so we posted a video that went pretty viral. Our Instagram video was just a clip of that video, of the long episode. And in the episode, obviously, we were talking about not only, politics and the, giving of awards to pro-abortion politicians, but we started also talking about openness to life in a general sense. And I made a comment that a lot of people were, I think they, obviously an Instagram reel is not as much as the whole episode. And so I think people took it out of context, even though I said this doesn't apply to everybody. What I said was that some people will not want to have a baby because they want a more luxurious lifestyle. And I gave an example, maybe it was a silly example of, people like wanting a Mercedes, for example, rather than a Toyota. And so they don't want extra children because of that. And I wasn't talking about everybody. I was actually thinking about a few people that I know, that live like that, and that don't want children because they want a more luxurious lifestyle. But I know that doesn't apply to everybody, and we know that as well. And there are some people that really struggle, and we have to take that into account, and we have to really care for them. And so there's this comment that I want to read now. It says this was on the video. It said, the reality is much more different than what you are proposing here, though for the reasons why most families cannot afford to have more children. To name a few, paying basic utilities for food, the constant risk of mom being fired for daring to have children, the ridiculous cost of childcare, healthcare, etc., the lack of a community that is there to help since the family lives far away or are themselves still working. I have an issue in people who will never know what it feels like having to choose to feed their children or pay for their electricity, heating, etc., criticize those who have. Abortion is an absolute evil, but spacing pregnancies is not. Neither is the avoidance of pregnancy for the sake of the family you do have. The examples you gave as for why people choose not to have more kids is such a small section of society. Instead of criticizing families, we should be finding ways to advocate for them. Thank you to this person for your comment, and thank you to all others who have left comments. What do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, what I was going to say, if it's in response to abortion, there's no good reason for abortion. I would like somebody to give me a good reason for abortion. If we believe that it's the killing of a child, which biology has shown to be true at the moment of conception, life begins, I don't think that there is any good reason for it. But if it's, what she's saying about spacing children or avoiding having more kids, there are a variety of reasons for that. I don't think that it's always done prudently. Just going off instinct, I don't think that it's mostly done prudently, but I think that it can be, and that sometimes is done prudently. Yeah, I do.
I also made a comment, I think, on that episode where I tried to qualify the discussion that we were having. It is a beautiful thing to see the growth of a family and children growing within a family, but it's not always the case that a family can be one where there are 6 or 7 kids coming with them to church, and them portraying that beautiful image of a family that is, uniting itself and coming together to worship God on a Sunday, as busy as they might be, as many responsibilities as they might have. Not every family can do that. So I just tried to qualify what we were saying, and I said something along the lines of, it is a blessing and it is good when that is a possibility. And there are things that could make it not a possibility or much harder to achieve or to provide. And it's things like this lady or whoever it is that's commenting about this is mentioning. It's not to say that we should go into the other end of the spectrum and just wait until all finances are taken care of and then have kids and then have a family. But those things are to be taken into consideration. It would be irresponsible in some ways to act when you can't take care of yourself and then you're choosing to have kids. Now the question becomes, what does it mean that I can take care of myself? What does it mean that I'm responsible enough? How do you get that metric? That's an up for discussion kind of question.
Yeah, I think a lot of the issues she addressed, whoever it was, that we did not necessarily negate those. We didn't say like that. We didn't address the whole spectrum of issues, and neither were we attacking that. So she made a few good points, but then it's not necessarily a criticism of the family for the sake of criticizing it. It's just that there's an issue in culture and choosing to be selfish and choosing to be self-preferential, and seeking comfort over seeking sacrifice, which is true in our own personal lives a lot of times, and it's true when it comes to children. I think Father Ankido, you had mentioned once a story of a family they had visited. No one here would know who this is, so their privacy is good. They had a lot of kids. They were very poor, and they served you dessert.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to mention that, but maybe that sheds some light upon the value of family.
Yeah. It was actually, this is I say this in a homily at St. Peter's as a new priest, and people still come up to me today And they say, I remember that story. I'll never forget that story. The story
must have been good if you preached it at St. Peter's.
yeah, if I was able to say it there. But I visited a family one time in a different state of the Union, okay? And these are non-Chaldeans, and they had a bunch of kids, and they were dirt broke, okay? They didn't have a TV in their house. They served us dinner and then served us dessert. And the dessert was, because they couldn't afford to get a cake or cookies or whatever it is, they served us blueberries, and they put milk on top of the blueberries. And they just let it simmer for a minute, and then they served it to us. That's a really good thing. Like, it's actually really bomb, by the way. That
sounds bomb, actually.
Actually, it's really good. I never knew that, but it's bomb. But that's how poor they were. The thing that struck me was, this is maybe the happiest family I've ever met in my life. And simultaneously among the poorest I've ever met. Mm-hmm. Which is not to say that poverty equals happiness. It's to say that detachment equals happiness. To be poor in spirit does equal happiness. It does. Mm-hmm. If it's mixed within a bunch of other virtues, you know. So yeah, that was an experience that I had that really struck me well, which is going back to on the point that you actually made last time we talked about this, which is you don't have to have a Mercedes. You don't have to have this really flashy kitchen. You don't have to have this gigantic house. Maybe children do cause more joy than stuff does. Maybe poverty, or at least a sense of detachment, not having so many things, maybe that is actually a good path to joy, which is, I think, where people get mixed up all the time and where some of these disagreements happen. I wouldn't argue against somebody to say, if I absolutely, like, I'm scratching the bottom of the barrel here, I can't have any more kids, I can't feed this kid if I have another one. Okay, I get it. Not abortion, obviously, but like space out the kids, fine. Or I don't have any help because I'm a lone family here. There's no one that's willing to, there's no community around me. There's nothing like that. Okay, I get that. Fine. Or there's serious psychological issues going on within the family, and this is just going to compile it. It's going to just exaggerate it even more, and we're not going to be able to handle that on a mental health issue. Fine, I get that. But I think those are pretty rare cases.
So do you guys know the teaching of the church when it comes to that stuff, like regarding openness to life and regarding, obviously the church is against artificial contraception. Mm-hmm. So sometimes people will use NFP, natural family planning, going on the natural cycle of the woman's body. They'll use that with a contraceptive mentality, just to avoid having children. So when does the church allow that to be used?
My understanding, and I'd like to read more about this actually, so I can also see the church's rationale for it. But it's those two issues, kind of that I just mentioned: serious financial issues to the point where I can't afford actually to have another kid, and it doesn't mean that I can't afford to get this, really expensive thing that I want and have another kid. That's not the scenario. It's I can't afford to have another kid. Period. Or it's going to put such a strain that it's going to destroy the family structure and whatever it is. Or it's real psychological problems. Those are the two things that are cited as valid concerns for that NFP can be applied for.
Yeah.
I had yes, one of the things you mentioned in there is that, well, it sounds like there's might be annoying here, but there's a philosophical principle that says the ends don't justify the means. Which means if I have an end and my end is to do a certain thing, it doesn't mean I can, in my head is good. It doesn't mean that to get there I can commit small sins, so I can prevent maybe something more serious from happening, just because I feel like that's the right judgment. But then she qualified it by saying, it bothers me that people who have never had to choose between paying bills and having to feed someone can have an opinion on this matter. And it's like Father Chris said on the last episode, I can know that 1 + 1 = 2, even if I'm not a math teacher. And so that kind of, let's just say, logical fallacy in attacking someone's experience to conclude something is where I oftentimes worry, because we don't know where each person has come from. When we lived in Syria, we were very poor, and yet my family consistently chose to do the right thing, even though our poverty was pretty difficult. Probably nothing that anybody in the US has ever experienced, actually, and doesn't give us the way out of doing the right thing. What is it in the Gospels? Jesus says, whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Or when someone says, let me go bury my father, he says, let the dead bury their dead, come and follow me. There's a stark choice between our own perspective of what's good and what the Lord calls us and empowers us to live out, which is more to our fulfillment.
Yeah, there's the other side of this, which is bad in a different way, Some people will measure their Catholicity, like their faithfulness to Christ and the Catholic faith and so on. Some people will measure that based on how many kids they have. And I'm not just throwing that out there. I've heard that before, this person has 10 kids, they're amazing, they're doing a great job, as opposed to these other people. I have heard that before people saying that in front of me. Which is just a different issue. That's if one of them is, let's say, a preference for comfort or luxury, this one is absolute pride, or it can lean into that. I think the position of the church is openness to life means just do you and let God do him. If God wants you to have 10 kids, you'll have 10 kids. If he wants you to have 3 kids, you'll have 3 kids. You're not getting in the way of the will of God because of some preference or because of some fear or because of something else. You're doing what you're supposed to do as a family, and God is included in that structure, in that dynamic, and he's going to do what he's going to do. And I'm not stopping the will of God, and I'm not bragging that I have whatever it is.
This helps with life in general, just to be more at peace when you surrender to God and you don't want to be in control of everything, including this very sacred and beautiful aspect of life, which is procreation, that God allows human beings to participate in. And so that should be the attitude in every aspect of our lives. I mean, this is what it means to be a saint ultimately, is to completely surrender to God and say, God, your will be done, and I will be your servant. Just like Mother Mary said, speaking of having a baby unexpectely, right? Mother Mary did that, and she said, behold, I'm the handmaid of the Lord. Let it be done to me according to your word. And they were very poor. They didn't know, have a place to stay. They had to travel. They didn't know what to do. And they got through it because of their trust in God and because of, St. Joseph's conviction and strong trust. Yeah.
They rest in their trust in God. I personally have friends that have been told that if you deliver this child, you might be at risk of death. And they said, I'm a mother, I give life, I don't take it away.
Saint Gianna.
It's the same exact thing.
She's a saint. Yeah. That's how she became a saint.
Right. And they're willing to go through that and risk it. And that's not a bill. That's not food on the table. They're willing to risk their very existence. And it harkens back to Jesus saying, the greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. And that's what a mother is called to do. And that's the only way she's going to be fulfilled in her mission.
Yeah.
Give her very self. That's what love demands. There's nothing, everything less is not love. It's something else.
Yeah. So last episode we were talking, last time we were all together 2 episodes ago, we were talking about the, topic of abortion, and we did mention a little bit about it in the American political world. And we did mention there was a Democrat senator that was very pro-abortion, that was being honored by the church. And we have to speak about both sides. There was a very bad thing, actually, that Trump was speaking about on the campaign trail, and also recently. I don't know if they officially did it, but he was speaking very much in favor of the abortion pill, which is the cause of, I think, most abortions. I think like 60%. I could be wrong on that, most abortions in America. And, that's very bad. It's
Oh yeah.
So I saw an article from the Washington Post that said Trump administration approval of new abortion drug infuriates the right. So this was from 2 weeks ago that says that the title of the article is that the Trump administration approved this new abortion drug.
Oh, okay. So it could be a new drug that he's approving.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is just as bad, by the way. But at least we have clarity on what's going on. That's really bad, dude.
Yeah.
Like really, really bad.
It's like low key bad,
It's well, the sinister thing about it is that people say, "Oh, Trump is the most pro-life president." That's it. Obviously not. Obviously, he's not.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can't get too attached to any one particular political party because none of them are going to fully espouse the Christian
Catholic
faith,
teaching,
or the Catholic Church or whatever. None of them are going to do that. So is that sufficiently pro-life? No. Is it fundamentally pro-life? No, not at all. And it kind of exposes, in my opinion, the nature of politics is like this anyways. Much of it is just kowtowing to certain groups in order to gain votes because it's a democratic system. So is that a pro-life position? No, it's not a pro-life position.
And for the people that say that, abortion, we believe that abortion and ending abortion is the preeminent issue of our time, like how the Conference of Catholic Bishops says, like we got to figure something out.
Well, what we have to figure out how to do again, honestly, is stop using the government to do our job. That's a very annoying thing among a lot of Christianity today in the West, especially in America, I think, is that we're letting go, we're handing over our job to the government and thinking that just voting the right people in is me doing my Christian duty. It's not. That's not to say that we shouldn't vote. Obviously, we should vote. We should be partake in the democratic process and as citizens and all that stuff. But to think that the government is going to do our Christian duties for us is not going to happen. This is proving it. We thought that we were going to vote in a very pro-life president, a Republican, or whatever it is, and now our goal to eradicate abortion because it's evil is now going to be taken care of. That's not really the case.
One example of somebody doing something about it. I was at the Lila Rose's gala a couple of weeks ago for her live action, and they gave an award to Dr. Delgado. He started Culture of Life Family Services, and I don't know if he invented or he promoted. I think he did come up with the abortion pill reversal.
Yep.
Did you hear about that? And he saved thousands of lives already, which is amazing. So the people that take the pill and then they regret it, and then they take the other pill to reverse it, which is pretty cool.
So that's very innovative.
Yeah.
That's a really good example of what our duty actually is. Be innovative, and our job is to save lives. Not necessarily just to vote people in. Maybe they can help, but it's still our job to save lives. It's still our job for seeking the good of the soul and all that.
I was just looking at recent articles that the FDA approved a new abortion drug, and that there are a bunch of Republican politicians that are upset about it.
Okay.
And they have lost faith in the FDA, and they're turning maybe to RFK to see if he can cause some change in direction of the conversation with the weight of his voice. But
so we're not exactly sure if it was the Trump administration.
Sure. It's the Trump administration pushing this from their direction. I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you to Andrew for clarifying some things for us.
So it seems like the FDA is approving this abortion pill that has a history. It's not like it's a new invention, but now they're approving it in a generic form. So basically, it's gonna cover more weeks of the pregnancy to be able to terminate a pregnancy, and so it's being made more convenient for people that are looking for abortions. And the reason people are upset about this is because The FDA operates under, the direction of, well, I don't know exactly who the FDA reports to. Yeah, it's the part of the federal government. And then you have Robert F. Kennedy, who's the Health and Human Services Secretary. And then apparently some people are saying he's not doing as much as he can do about this to stop it. The danger is that it would just make abortion a faster and more convenient process for the people that are looking for it. And then when you think about this, it goes just beyond like a subjective morality. It could become something where it's more of a culture of death and individualism than it already is. So that's kind of the danger, I guess. How much can the people in government do? I don't know. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add about that.
I mean, supposedly the Trump administration is being very passive about it and just kind of not addressing the issue as strongly as they have the authority to do so, and which is why it's irritating a lot of conservatives. I think rightly so. In my opinion, it's a reminder that kind of what I was saying earlier, politics is not going to do our job for us. We have to fight primarily. I think the church's contribution to the world is firstly a cultural contribution, meaning that we shape the culture. And the Catholic Church has always done that. And then the politics follow. People say culture is downstream from politics. I think it works in reverse order, kind of, where politics is downstream from culture. The culture is shaped, and the policies of the nation, of the land, follow what the cultural milieu is, right? So I think our primary job is to, offer ourselves to God, obviously, and in prayer and the rest of that, and then to include that life, that spiritual life that's been given to us by the church and the scriptures and Christ and all this, into the culture. That's what happened in the early church. I mean, you think about the Roman Empire, was it very much a culture of death.
But yeah, every time there's like a political blunder or a political situation that causes so much controversy, that's my takeaway every single time. The question that stays with me is, why are people so drawn to the details of politics, to the endless news cycle, to picking one political side of the spectrum over the other? There's so much more richness and fulfillment and truth in what our faith passes down to us. That's what's going to leave me at peace at the end of the day, not trusting in a lawmaker or one party to do something. Like the guy that we brought up, Dr. Delgado, his vote didn't cause lives to be saved. Could that happen if enough people vote for something in a certain direction? I guess it could. But for this particular heavy scenario, his vote didn't cause lives to be saved. His values did, and then his talents did.
Yeah. And so I remember what Trump said on the campaign trail. And I just got the clarification right now that he did say that he would not limit the availability of abortion pills. And he argued that the issue should be left to the states. So he would not take any federal action to limit that.
I don't know how that, okay, that's fine, I guess. I mean, it's not fine, but I'm glad that he's at least consistent.
Which Catholic president was it that said, "My religion does not influence my politics"?
Wasn't it?
It was such a contradiction in like logic and terms and
wait, wasn't it the candidate that ran against Bush? No, John Kerry.
Maybe
John Kerry ran against
maybe
Obama.
It was an actual president. I'm not sure, but they said, "Well, my Catholicity, my Catholic faith, religion." Or maybe it wasn't a Catholic, I don't know. But they said something to the extent that my religion and my political stands are two separate things. And it's like, how is your belief and your action two different things?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Hillary Clinton that coined the phrase, it could be her, I'm not actually sure. But I think she at least repeated it, where she said, "I'm personally against abortion, but publicly I'm in support of it."
Yeah.
And then Biden would use that.
And it's like,
Biden probably said that too,
probably. I think that's probably Biden.
Yeah.
It's like, how does that make sense?
I'm sure several politicians have said that.
So this dichotomy between personal conviction and public opinion, it's just like, it screams hypocrisy.
and there is this separation, this kind of dualism. I
Yeah.
think which allows us, because of materialism today, everything is just matter, and the soul is different, and the spiritual life is different, and it does not influence the material world. It allows us to do things like abortion. It allows us to do things like justify crime.
Yeah. So it is a weird thing though that I don't think it's good. Like, it's kind of like what Father Chris was saying earlier. It's not good to get caught up in every minutia, in every detail of what's going on politically every single day at every single moment, and throw a big fit about it, because that's not really our fight. I like, if you think about it like a boxing match or something. I'm not a boxer. I don't know this. I don't even know that they do it this way, but probably a smart way of going about it would be let the guy get in a couple of jabs while you're figuring out his style, getting him tired, learning about the thing, about his maneuvers, and coming up with a better strategy, and then really go in patiently and with wisdom, right? But what does that mean? That in the background, you're allowing yourself to get hit a couple times. You're not going to make a really big deal out of little things, but you're actually working on a bigger project. You're actually working on the grand scheme. I think we missed the grand scheme by getting obsessed over the jabs.
And for us, the grand scheme, I mean, you mentioned the culture, like the church influencing the culture.
Yeah.
But even that itself is not the grand scheme, right? Like, that's a means to the end of making people part of the church, and like making them trust the church and making them have faith in Jesus Christ ultimately, so that they get to heaven. Because even if the culture is against us, we still have a duty to ultimately to worship God, right?
Yeah, you know who does this well? Bishop Barron, I think, does this really, really well. He understands this point. He's very intellectual, so he has like the Catholic intellectual tradition, which is great. But his position is what the world needs now is beauty. Like Dostoevsky said, beauty will save the world. So you got the three transcendentals, right? Beauty, truth, and goodness, okay? Goodness, it's very hard to approach right now because we live in a morally relativistic age. Truth, very hard to engage with people now because we don't believe in a common truth. Everybody has their own subjectivism and all this. But beauty is instinctively understood and acknowledged. When somebody sees something beautiful, they don't think it through. They're delighted by it. So Bishop Barron's whole thing is kind of like Dostoevsky's, beauty will save the world. I think Catholics should focus on learning how to write good stories again. I think Catholics need to be thinking about how to make good movies again. I think Catholics need to be thinking about how to sculpt again, how to engage the liberal arts, the cultural goods that change minds in a way that's still applicable in the world today. And that all of that towards the end of making people recognize that when I see something beautiful, there's something true about it. There's something good about it. And maybe there's something godly about it.
That's like, that's where storytelling comes in. The early Christians, it's not like they had the best, theological formulas or dogmas to communicate. A lot of them were very confused about those, but they had a very good story to tell. They had an amazing story to tell. And they lived amazing lives that were very much anchored in charity and in self-gift. And that became to be an expression of their desire for beauty. In the Middle Ages, the buildings that they've built and the statues that they sculpt. And even till today, I bet many people convert when they go to Rome and see St. Peter's Basilica, and they're like, what's going on here? Why is this so grandeur?
Yep.
Yeah.
So this kind of answers a question that comes up often. And we were talking about this before we started filming today. Like, how do you approach a culture or friends or people that don't receive Catholicism, that don't receive what the church has to teach? So if you want to answer that question, I think this is one way. You can approach it with a display of beauty from what the tradition of Catholicism has to offer. There's many ways to manifest that beauty. There's the spectacular things you'll see in Rome and in various places throughout the world when it comes to architecture. There are compositions of music that will take your mind to places you didn't know it could go. I think there's also ways of having conversations that people don't get exposed to on a regular basis. I have a friend that when we were growing up, we never really talked about our faith that much. But it wasn't until became adults, college age adults, that we started talking about the teachings of the faith in a debate sort of way, where one of us would question something and the other one of us would end up trying to defend something, and nothing got too out of hand, nothing got too combative or argumentative, but it got to a point where we talked about things that you don't talk about in everyday conversations and all the other things you're doing throughout your day. It's not the kind of conversations people have. So there are ways also, a faithful person who treasures the faith and wants to evangelize with it can have conversations in a beautiful way, in a way that is out of love, in a way that speaks to the soul, for the conversion of the soul, for the elevation of the soul, and not just for a debate.
Yeah. There are some people that only think of the church in terms of the negative beliefs that they have about it. And they don't think about the beauty of the teachings of the church and of the life of Jesus. And so if we don't only focus on those things, like you don't always have to talk about abortion or sexuality, you should actually talk about God's plan of salvation and his love for us and his mercy and his grace and other beautiful and thought-provoking ideas about God and the church.
So going on with that idea, we were talking about this yesterday when we were by the nuns. Edith Stein, who became Saint Edith Stein now, she was Sister Teresa Benedicta. She was an atheist, and she one night started reading the autobiography of Saint Teresa of Avila. So talking about good stories, right? If you've ever read that book, it's not really profound philosophically, insofar as she's not making premises and then concluding with these really amazing conclusions. She's not doing that. She's just talking about her life and her relationship with God. It's kind of like Confessions of St. Augustine. I'm not going to give it to that level, whatever. Edith Stein read that book through a night and became a Catholic the next day. She read a really good story, a profound story of one person's honest relationship with God. And she's really funny in that book. She says, sometimes I get really stupid. It's things like, she does funny things like that. But it's a really, really good story about someone's genuine experience with the life of God and entering into the Catholic life. Edith Stein was moved by that. There was this poet, Tolstoy, right? No, not Tolstoy. I'm sorry. I'm forgetting who it is. This poet, he wrote the four quartets.
Wait.
Totally getting his name wrong.
Don't tell me, please. Keep talking about it. I'll tell you right now. It starts with an L. No,
I'll
please.
tell you first.
Is it with an L? It's old guy.
He was a banker. He was English.
Father Chris.
Oh my gosh.
Get into it, man.
Okay, one more guess.
Hold on.
Oh, this guy. How did you not
Elliot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
T.S.
Eliot. Yeah, you said L. Elliot. Yeah.
T.S.
It
Eliot.
starts with an L.
T.S. Eliot wrote the four.
Thank you. I think we can check that on the cameras just to see who said it first.
We'll look at exactly
I just want to make
second
sure that this
Did you say it?
happened. I mean, the mic would have caught it. So just this is one of those. We don't have to wait till heaven. Sorry.
T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot said that he wanted to write a poem like what he perceived in one of Beethoven's symphonies. Okay, and what he perceived in Beethoven's symphony, in this one, he wrote it towards the end of his life, Beethoven. He said, I perceive in that symphony a man that has endured much suffering and has come through it out on the other side. Like he's made it. He says, I want to write a poem like that. And he ended up writing the four quartets. Which is to say, somehow he was able to recognize in that symphony, in that music, the suffering and the victory over suffering of a man in his music. That's amazing. And that he's able to do it through poetry. That's amazing. Teresa of Avila is able to do it through a story. Many other people are able to do it through fictions and such things. We can do that again.
Yeah.
We can tell the story of Christ by telling stories.
I think the movement that happened with like, I don't want to categorize or stereotype here, but like the Thomist kind of movement, with things being so philosophical, intellectual, right? Correctness, what's sin, what's not sin. I mean, stuff that eventually came from the West and influenced even to the East to a big extent, versus our understanding of things in the East has been more on the side of mystery. And this is why we call it araza, which means a mystery, the divine mysteries, right? And that perspective in life is more compelling.
Yep.
It's like Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, or Augustine reading the life of St. Francis, written by Athanasius, that converted him. Very similar thing.
Yeah, that's another
life of St. Anthony. Sorry,
another one of these things is liturgy for us.
Yeah,
liturgy. You know, celebrating a good liturgy, one that's aiming at beauty, one that's aiming to wow the people, to give the people as much of this mystery as is in our hands to give to the people. You know, that's really important too. And a lot of people are moved by that, very much moved by that.
And people are, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, man.
No, it's okay, go ahead.
So right now, I've been going to Mom's group at St. Peter's for a couple of sessions, and they wanted me to talk about a certain topic. And I said, okay, how about we talk about, you know, worship of God throughout Scripture, and then how it becomes liturgy like that we have now. It's like this similar Bible study that I did previously a few years ago. And I keep reminding them throughout the session that I have with them to not get so caught up in every single detail that we're going through when it comes to describing, you know, Adam as a priest, Adam as a king, creation as this temple because of the correlation we see in Genesis, and then the building of the temple during Solomon's time, and all that kind of stuff. Those are all beautiful, wonderful things to meditate on. But at the end of the day, what are we talking about? That God has loved the world, that the human being is an extension of the God's amazing creation, the part of creation that can rationally say yes to him, and that the response of man has not been the love that we ought to give God. And so liturgy needs to be the thing that, the vehicle that makes that no into a yes, that makes that approach to God the way it ought to be. So that's kind of what I keep reminding them periodically throughout the session that I have with them, is that, yes, we're talking about many details here and a lot of context to get us to understand liturgy, but the whole point, the whole thing that we need to focus on is the story of salvation, that God has loved and mankind has not loved back. And so liturgy is this beautiful, amazing vehicle that we have to love him back, that man is not made for the Sabbath, that the Sabbath is made for man. So,
and it is that imagery of love that man has to engage in a lot more.
So my point was kind of like talking about liturgy could be so beautiful. Studying liturgy, participating in liturgy could be one of those beautiful things that gives life to places of the world that are kind of dying.
You know, in my homily for this last Sunday, because I did the reading about the feeding of the multitude.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. So I took that as an opportunity to preach about the value of the liturgy and just to give people a different perspective on it. So whoever is at my mass, you're going to hear this on repeat. But the way I think about it is, and I'm not the inventor of this way of thinking. It's actually Pope Benedict. I read it in him, with him. But the liturgy, he says, is like a play. Okay? It's a play. And so in a play, you'll have all kinds of artifacts, all kinds of goods, things that you need, costumes, you know, so the priest wears this big robe and the shamasha wear these white gowns and stoles, and the different stoles represent different stages of where they're at, and the choir has their own gowns and whatever. We've got the icons, we've got the altar, we've got the incense, we've got stained glass windows, we've got all this stuff in there, right? All these artifacts, all these things for the sake of this play. I likened it to like a girl when she's young and she's playing house. Well, she's just playing house. That's not a real house. It's a fake house. Her imagination is running wild, and that's beautiful. But all of that stuff is symbolic of a house. It's not a real house. So the same thing with us. This is all symbolic until it's a real liturgy. Until God puts his stamp of approval, the Holy Spirit comes into the whole thing and turns this play into reality, transforms symbol into reality, so that everything that is being symbolized in the liturgy is actually made real, and we are actually taken up into heaven, and heaven has actually come down to earth, and this becomes one real thing. So the more we emphasize the beauty of the liturgy and, let's say, the artifacts and all the symbolic stuff and all the music and all the more we do of that, the more we're allowing our imagination to enter into the reality that God is transforming into reality.
Yeah. It's beautiful. And I think that's where people have to live a lot more than in the maybe theological, philosophical realm. Of like, these the right argument. What are the 5 proofs?
Yeah. Or like the question, like, when exactly does it become the body of Christ? Is it when the priest says, "This is my body," or is it that, it's like
when have I sinned? Up until what point is it sin? It's like questions that limit but instead live in the drama of God's beauty and mystery, right?
Mystery,
live in
drama.
like you were saying, Father, live in the fear of it and be able to hope, overcome things. And I think that's what like even myth gives us, like Dawkins' myths or C.S. Lewis, those books.
Or T.S. Eliot.
Or T.S. Eliot.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a good one.
You should read 4
I know that
quartets, by the way. You know what he does in that book? These are 4 different parts of a poem, right? The first is about the Father, then the Son, then the Holy Spirit, then the Virgin Mary is the 4th quartet. It's really cool.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I wish we could talk about that one.
Let's eat.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All
Father
right,
Chris, who do we have today?
Today's food comes to us from the Hangout restaurant and bar, where flavor meets feeling. Nestled in the heart of North Park, the Hangout restaurant and bar isn't just a restaurant, it's a vibe. We've crafted a space where every dish tells a story, every guest feels like family, and every visit becomes a memory. From bold, crave-worthy flavors to a welcoming ambiance that invites you to linger, the Hangout is your go-to spot for connection, comfort, and culinary creativity. Whether you're dropping in for a casual bite or celebrating something special, we're here to make it unforgettable. So the Hangout. Good family.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's really good food.
It's so good. It's very different.
I
very healthy
like their
and
variety of food. It's like a good selection of food, to be honest.
Yeah.
Bro, I just had a bite of the short rib sandwich. The flavor on that is amazing, bro.
This is on Adams Avenue if anyone wants to check it out. A lot of activity on that street.
Did you try the lamb one?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to try. It's like a lamb sandwich. Guys, look at this. Lamb and egg and a bunch of stuff. Usually I'm not a big fan of lamb, but this just looks amazing. What's so funny, bro? Come on, bro. Paid content?
Yeah.
All right.
Please make sure the camera zoomed in on Father Simon whenever we're not talking.
That paid content section is going to be nuts, huh?
One day.
So what did the Pope say this week, man?
The Pope?
Yeah, did he have a Wednesday audience?
Oh, yeah. He did. I can't reach for my phone right now because my hand is all...
Did you guys talk about his apostolic exhortation?
No, actually.
The Lexi Te, whatever.
No, that would have been a good idea. Actually.
He talked about...
Maybe next week.
He mostly emphasized like care for the poor on that one, which was nice.
Is that his first?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, it's actually Pope Francis's, but he completes it.
Oh.
Yeah. It was kind of cool. It's
And
like
then,
passing down of the torch.
He like puts his own... So they have this red sauce. Unbelievable.
Actually, can I have some of that? Let me put it on this.
Right.
I like the name of his place, The Hangout.
Yeah.
It's a cool name.
You should go hang out there.
Have you been there for
They meant for you to say that.
I've driven by it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder how the setting is. Well, they described it in that, actually.
Yeah, it's a very exciting place.
Could
apparently.
you read that to us again, please?
Guys, I got a new phone. And I was in a rush to do the process. And so I wiped out my old phone
Oh my gosh.
before completing everything on my new phone. So I have a lot of like all my pictures and stuff is there and my text messages, but my contacts are all gone.
That's why you haven't been answering my phone call.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You've been calling me?
Yeah.
So you haven't been answering people because of that now. Why weren't you answering people before?
No comment. No comment. However, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I forgot my hat. I just realized I don't have my hat on. Man.
Are you even a final vow monk? Yeah. So yeah, that's why I haven't been answering your calls now.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. However,
So how are you gonna like text?
honestly, I'm
call it?
thinking about texting people, and I haven't because I don't have their number. Literally, you know what I'm saying?
Did you lose contact with all the celebrities that you know?
So this is the best thing that's
Probably.
ever happened to you, is what you're saying.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I'm seriously thinking about drastically changing my life right now. Honestly, like Father Fadi was here last time. I think we mentioned this about the phone that he has. I don't know if he mentioned it or
Today
not.
I saw it. I picked it up and like I actually felt what it's like to have it.
Yeah.
It's a totally different thing. It's a totally different way of existing. It's so different than any phone we're used to.
So he uses the light phone 3.
Yeah, Light Phone 3 is what it's called. It just has essential things. And then somehow he got WhatsApp on there too. And that's
So I'm
it.
thinking about getting that. Honestly, like I'm like 10% serious about that thought. About getting it and keeping this phone just for like content, just for social media. And so I keep it in my room or in my office or something, and I log on there for like a short time a day just to do that. But on me, I'm not gonna have anything else. And maybe I could change my number on that new phone. You know what I'm saying? What do you think? I was gonna talk to you about this afterwards.
Yeah.
Actually.
In our monastery, we have iPhones, but we lock them up. So I don't have access to the internet. I can't download any apps. Whatever. The whole thing is locked up. The apps that I do have are just utilitarian, like Google Docs, because I like to write on my phone. Or Kindle, you can read. Audible, you can listen to a book. Stuff like that. We don't have obviously any social media or anything, so all those things that normally distract people, we don't really have. But I still find myself on the phone probably like, I don't know what my screen time is, probably a couple hours a day because I read on there.
And you still have an iPhone for that. You don't have the Father Fadi phone.
Yeah, I have an iPhone
Yeah.
for that. So it's password protected. So I don't have the password to my own phone. Another monk does, And we all do that for each other.
That's kind of like the monks who make chartreuse. They're Carthusian monks, so they're all sworn to a vow of silence. So there's apparently the recipe is divided into 3 different parts, and 3 monks only know those 3 parts.
Oh,
like
wow.
they don't know each other's part.
Wow.
Yeah,
If one of them dies,
I don't know. I'm not a Carthusian, but I'm sure they have some kind of system.
sure it's like safe somewhere.
Yes. You know what I think about technology though, as beautiful as it is? I think we know too many things at once.
Yeah.
Information overload.
Yeah, I think there's too many things you can know at one time. I think it's not supposed to be like that.
Yeah. And you have access to too many things. And you know what I'm saying? People have access to you too much. Like, if I responded to everybody that reaches out to me on social media, that would be my full-time job,
Like it's a big reason why life isn't peaceful. There isn't time for peace. There isn't
that's a
room
good point.
for peace.
That's a good point.
It's the constant cycle of events.
So it's a battle between conveniences because the phone gives you a lot of and entertainment, I guess. But entertainment / convenience versus peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which one do you want?
Honestly, like,
Honestly, I'll have enough peace when I'm dead. Give me entertainment and convenience. Just
YOLO?
kidding. Just kidding.
YOLO?
I don't...
But I want to we have a decent system, but it's still not as good as I'd like
No.
it to be. Myself.
Bro, you want to just do it together now?
I know, man. Should we just do a light phone now?
I'll do it if you guys do it.
Are you serious? Okay. Are you serious right now?
If you and Father do it, yeah.
Wow.
But do I have to do it now too? I can't. I just got the iPhone. So.
I know, I did too. I
Keep
did
it on
too.
the side.
Wait, so how much does it cost, this thing?
It's like $300.
600, huh?
600?
$600.
Maybe we can get a sponsor.
Yeah.
This was amazing food, bro.
It's really good.
It's good. It's good,
Great
clean food. It's just the kind
Very
of food
different.
you'd want if you were hanging
Hanging
out.
out.
That's a good close, man. That's a good close.
All right.
Thanks for
See you guys.
hanging out with us, everybody. Yalla, bye. I'm gonna go
Peace
get a
out.
new phone.
Into something transforms symbol into